Namaskar. In today's edition of Right Angle, I'll be discussing something on some very obvious topic, and that you all know that Mr. Donald Trump has assumed office as the 47th President of the United States. He did it yesterday. He was the 45th President, and after one term gap, he has again become the 47th President. As you all know that in a more or less in a unipolar world, United States is the most powerful country in the world, and whoever is going to lead it, whoever is going to run it for the next 4 years, will have great impact in the rest of the world. And when one talks of the rest of the world, obviously everybody's mind does really want to know what's going to happen to India, whether President Trump is going to be good for India or not. But then I must make certain points very clear. Fortunately, as far as India is concerned, things have been pretty good as far as the United States is concerned, irrespective of which party is the ruling party there or who is the president there. I think ever since the presidency of Mr. Bill Clinton, who was a Democrat, things have really moved forward as far as the bilateral relations between India and the United States have been concerned. And there is, in that sense, a bipartisan consensus between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, who have come to power in the last 25 years. Like, if Mr. Clinton was a Democrat and Mr. Obama was a Democrat, and the just last president, Mr. Biden, was a Democrat, we also have two very important Republicans, in the sense that first it was Mr. Bush, who succeeded Mr. Clinton, and after that Mr. Trump had one particular term as the 45th president, and now again he has come back. So if there has been a broad consensus among the political parties there in United States on the importance and significance of India as a friend of America, then nothing much radical change is expected from Mr. Trump. That does not mean that India and America will have no issues. All told, Mr. Trump is the President of the United States, so he has to take into account the American interests. Like Mr. Narendra Modi here is the Prime Minister of India, and obviously he has to take the Indian interest into account. And there are quite a number of areas where exactly we two countries will differ, and we should. And the point is that despite these differences, the fundamental direction of the relationship, whether that is going to change or not, is a matter of discussion. You see, today he assumed office yesterday. I think by our Indian Standard Time, last night around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you all might have watched that opening, that oath-taking ceremony. But the point is, within 24 hours, there has been some impact in India, and that is actually not a very good impact. I'm told, though I do not know much about that particular field pertaining to these stocks and shares. I believe the stock market has come down drastically, particularly in two areas like IT and pharmaceuticals. And you know that these essentially are the two areas where India is pretty strong, and perhaps you all know that America happens to be one of the very few countries with which India's balance of trade is in positive way, in the sense that it is the Americans who has that trade deficit with India. We have I think around $40 billion plus. That means we export more to United States and import less from US. And when we talk of our exports, the service sectors and these pharmaceuticals are very important components. And the very fact that the stock market has come down, means there are some apprehensions because of Trump's policy, because yesterday, soon after he assumed presidency, he has decided to impose tariffs, because he thinks, and I think that was one of the most important electoral planks of his, that United States is being exploited by other countries, and that is why it is always running this trade deficits. The foreign goods are swamping the American markets, taking away the Americans' jobs, and then making difficult for the American companies to compete with the cheap goods that are imported from abroad. So he wants to tax them more and more. So that is the broad philosophy of economic philosophy of Trump presidency, which we are going to see over the next 4 years, and it has impact on that. But then, as I said, when one talks of the overall relationship, then there are certain points that need to be kept in mind. As I said, that we have seen more ups than downs in the last 25 years in our bilateral relationship, and there is a broad there is a bipartisan consensus on the importance of India as a strategic partner and friend of the United States. And why is it so? Because let me see what are the strong points, or what are the strong factors as far as the Indo-US relations are concerned. And this particularly pertains to the Trump presidency, Trump presidency in general, and President Trump personally in particular. One, it is always very important, the equation between your leaderships. For instance, it is very well known that Mr. Trump has got a very good personal equation with Prime Minister Modi. The very fact that India was one of the very few countries that was invited for this for his oath-taking ceremony yesterday, and more importantly, the importance of the way our External Affairs Minister, Foreign Minister, Mr. S. Jayasankar, who represented in India at that ceremony, was given the most, to me, if you have seen the oath-taking ceremony live yesterday, must have noticed, he was occupying the very first row, right in front of President Trump. Strategically speaking, perhaps this was one of the most important chairs that were kept in that oath taking hall. And obviously, when such big event takes place, the seating positions are always a very considered decision. It is not that decision at random, but like somebody going first come first service. That doesn't matter. That doesn't really happen. So if somebody's a particular placing was there determined, that means that must have been determined and careful calculations must have been there behind in allotting those seats. So the point that I'm trying to make is this talks of the positive vibes that are there between Mr. Trump and our Prime Minister Modi. Two, when one talks of America as a global power, they do have their overall strategic goal, and there they know that who is their number one enemy, who is their number one adversary. If I'm not taking the want to take out rather will not use the word enemy. Let's say friend, even let's say that principal adversary, the country which is in perhaps in the best position to challenge American supremacy in the global geopolitics, it happens to be China. And it so happens that, and particularly in this part of the world, the Indo-Pacific portion of the world, and this when one talks of Indo-Pacific, both India and the United States belong to the same region, Indo-Pacific, the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean and the countries around them. And the very fact that the Indo-Pacific as a geopolitical term was popularized and in a way legitimized by none other than President Trump during his last presidency. So when one talks of geopolitics in Indo-Pacific, then not only China happens to be the most important, or rather most formidable adversary of United States, China also happens to be India's principal adversary in this part of the world. So that consideration has gone a long way in bringing India and the United States together over the last 20-25 years, and the importance of this factor cannot be minimized. So it particularly continues, and I think this particular factor will be gaining more currency or given more importance by Mr. Trump. That doesn't mean that Biden administration had neglected it, no, but I think Trump is going to pursue it further in a more vigorous manner. And it goes also without any saying that the countries, those were invited to that oath-taking ceremony yesterday, were Japan, Australia. And you know that India, United States, Australia and Japan, they belong to the Quad. So that Quad as an outfit among these four strategic partners also was given a big push by Mr. Trump when he was the president last time. So, and all these, and the point that I was trying to make is this: you might have seen that informally that all the four foreign ministers of these countries, I think as far as US is concerned, their Secretary of State, who is our equivalent of our foreign minister, I think he is the only cabinet colleague who has got. I have forgotten his name, Mr. Santos. I'm not very sure. I'm a little I've not followed their names properly. It will take some time. So he has already got this Senate confirmation, and he has assumed in office. He is the first cabinet official. In American system, all the cabinet ministers, unlike here in India, they were that it is the prime minister's prerogative to choose his colleagues, and the matter ends there. But in America, it is not so. It is the president's prerogative definitely to choose his cabinet colleagues, but all his chosen persons as candidates for various offices have to be confirmed by the Senate, U.S. Senate, U.S. The upper house of the American legislature. So I think the only person who has been approved by the Senate happens to be the Secretary of State. I think he got 99 minus 0. That means, the present strength of U.S. Senate, I think, is 99. Though it is 100, I think one seat perhaps is missing. It is because of the fact that the Vice President, he was a senator from the Ohio, Mr. The U.S. Vice President, Mr. Vance. I think he is a senator, and I think under the American system, the governor of that particular state will now nominate another person to represent that state as the senator. So it is 99. But anyway, he has got the Senate confirmation. These 4 Quad foreign ministers, they have already had some informal meeting among themselves, and there are speculations that the Quad summit would be held here in India sometime in April, and Mr. Trump is going to come to India. I think India is going to be one of the countries where the U.S. President is going to come sooner rather than later. So as I said, coming back to those positive factors working in Indo-US relationship, bilateral relationship, one is this personal, and this two is that the second, the strategic congruence, in the sense that we do share many things strategically. So these are the two plus points. Third thing, there is, as I said, there is I think there are many more things, but let me only point out one particular thing. Then I'll move on to the next. That is the importance of the Indian diaspora. You all know that nearly 5 million people of Indian origin and non-resident Indians, they occupy the topmost position. They are among the most educated in America. They constitute the technological cream, so to say, of United States. Today, their average annual income is the highest in the United States. I'm talking of doctors, engineers, these technocrats in various field. They're doing fabulously well, and that is one of the reasons why, whether it was with President Biden, or whether it is with President Trump, now you will be seeing, if you see the list of people or persons of Indian origin occupying very important posts in the White House and the other important offices of United States, you will be finding that Indian Americans is quite a very significant number. And it so happens that even otherwise, because of the importance of India, and as I said, because of our strategic, growing strategic congruence, what has happened is that the key people, like as I said, their Secretary of State, and then Trump's nominee, or rather that doesn't need any Senate confirmation, so he's already there. The National Security Advisor, then their intelligence head, the FBI head, then the CIA head, all these people are rather who are going to work with Trump, and he has selected them to be his colleagues. They are very known to have over the years very pro-India views. So that again is a good thing as far as India is concerned. Then what are then the areas of concern? The areas of concern is this. As I said, Trump is the President of the United States, and he has got a particular philosophy. As you know, making America great again, and he'll be pursuing that America first policy, and there these trade disparities is going to be a very, very critical issue. And as I said, right at the very beginning, how it has already had an adverse impact, and then US happens to be one of the countries with which we have got this balance of trade in favor, and whether we'll be taking the reciprocal measures of allowing American goods in Indian markets cheaply is going to be a huge area of concern, in the sense that lots of negotiations have to be made between the two countries to find out a viable solution to keep the things under control. So this is one. Second thing, that another big electoral issue that Trump has had, and even immediately after taking over as the president, is one of the immediate decisions that has been he made soon after assuming office is about this illegal immigration, and how he has declared that emergency in the southwestern part, and then Mexican thing, that that illegal immigration was a huge electoral issue for Trump. And it so happens that there are I think after Mexico, I exactly have forgotten the number. After Mexico, of course, they will be running into nearly millions and millions. But the second country whose nationals are staying in United States illegally happens to be none other than India. So Mr. Trump, obviously, because one cannot have a very India-specific rule. I mean, if it is his general government's policy, who will be deporting these illegal immigrants, then India should be ready to see many illegal Indians living in US being deported to India. I think we must be keeping our planes ready for that. But the point to note here is this: Trump is not against the legal migration or the legal immigration. The point is that he is against the illegal immigration. And when the question of legal immigration comes, then India has got many plus points, in the sense that America is pathetically short of this technological people, or rather jobs relating to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and STEM, So this STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and medicine. What AIM stands for. Anyway, the STEM subjects. These are the areas where, because of our familiarity with English and because of our, all told, despite whatever people may talk about the education system here, but then we have produced perhaps the best such graduates here in India, and who are finding great jobs not only in in America, also in other countries, because globally, I think I did mention this particular point in one of my previous editions, how the world is pathetically short of, and particularly when the world is undergoing depopulation, that in the sense that the working age of the people in these various particularly in the developed countries is really increasing, because there is fewer and fewer people to work. And even in that scenario, and when one talks of these subjects, this STEM discipline and these technological people, and then America as a country is critically dependent on it, whether it is artificial intelligence, IT, biotechnology, engineering, medicine, whatever you may talk of. The point is that here the world's biggest feeding centers happen to be India and China. As I said, that they would not like more and more Chinese to come, because, as I pointed out, because of their strategic differences. And here Indians do have a great advantage. In fact, one may be reminded here of Trump talking of during his electioneering, that those legal immigrants, and particularly the Indian students who are going there legally to study, they will be given green card easily, which is very difficult at the moment, because the waiting time is too much. That's a very complicated area. But then Trump had promised that he would do something. So hopefully something should be done during Trump's presidency. Then the other areas of concern are this. After all, we live in a globalized world, and then when one talks of Indian foreign policy, we do have that our strategic autonomy, in the sense that we do not want to be aligned strongly only with one particular country. I think we want a very good relationship with America, but that relationship should not come at the cost of our traditional friendship with Russia, or our traditional interactions with some of the countries in the Middle East, like Iran. So the point, or for that matter, even other places in Europe. The whole point is Trump's world view that way is a little problematic for the rest of the world, because it is not only a matter of China. He is being a great nationalist, and then making that America first thing. He realizes, and there are some merits in that thinking, that United States is contributing the most, and its allies and partners are taking America for granted, in the sense that if we as alliance partners, we as strategic allies should contribute to our considered goals proportionately. But it's not that it is only United States which will be contributing the most. For instance, in NATO, US wants that every NATO power should at least contribute 5% of their respective GDP toward the defense. But so far it has not happened. I think I think out of 32 or 25 or 26, they have only reached up to this 2% of this thing. That means the rest of the thing, it is America which is bearing the cost. Even their strategic alliance partners like Japan, or for that matter South Korea, the Trump always will say that now that you are developed, you also must contribute accordingly, proportionately to the alliance and alliance needs, like America contributes most to various global organizations, like that one of the again immediate decisions that Trump as president has taken is to withdraw from the WHO, because he says that America contributes the most to the WHO, that World Health Organizations, but it is controlled by China, and in fact China is not even contributing half of what it should, being the second most important global power of the world today. So that means Trump's global view with and its adverse effects on some of the countries with which India has got good equations, may really come to the picture of when one talks of the Indo-US bilateral relationship. If US will make things conditional for India as far as its equations with other countries are concerned, there may be some problem, there may be some irritants. So these are the negative fallouts, the possible negative fallouts of a Trump presidency. But then, as I said, overall things are not that bad, and I'm quite sure, given the great equations that I pointed out at the very outset, between the political leadership of the two countries, Donald Trump there and Narendra Modi here, and then given the pro-India orientations of Trump's all key cabinet colleagues, I am quite sure, rather one should be hopeful. One can never be sure in particularly geopolitical calculations, but as an analyst, one can say that maybe they will be able to keep things under control, and will find a via media that will be mutually beneficial to India and America. Let me stop here. Thank you for your patience. Namaskar.